Well, I am super excited to, I suppose, formally announce this strategic collaboration between the Physiology Masterclasses, our MA and Missiology of Movements degree, and the Movement Leaders Collective. And joining me to talk more about what is called the Movement Lab, which is going to be a core component of our internship program, is Rich Robinson. Rich and I have gotten to know each other over the past couple of years, and I've just grown to appreciate his heart for movements and really not just a heart for movements, but his activity in helping others get oriented to movement thinking. Rich, I'm glad that you're with me. I look forward to talking about what this Movement Lab is all about.
It's great to be with you, Michael, and great to be in partnership with you. So friendship becomes a partnership. So the Movement Lab, the essence really is a dynamic and interactive learning community. So there is no checklist for movements, or this is the vehicle or the strategy, the how to do movement. We really want to create a dynamic environment. So there's intentionality, there's purpose, there's framework, but within that framework, within that intentionality, there is a lot of space for contextualization, for conversation, for imagination and process. So the lab is over 6 months. So we're not expecting you to have started, sparked and scaled a movement in 6 months, but it puts all these key ideas on the table for us. So you've got a 6-month journey, and every month, every one of the 6 months, you'll have 2 interactions. So one interaction is a 90-minute learning environment. And as you come into that learning environment, there'll be some reading, there'll be some videos to watch. So we're coming to the classroom, we flip the classroom, we're coming already having processed a key idea around movement. So we're coming in, and in that 90 minutes, there's a couple of short TED Talk style inputs, which build on the reading and the videos that you've done. There's opportunity within the cohort. So there may be 7 to 27 leaders going along the journey with you. So opportunity to dialogue with other learners and leaders from around the globe. And then there's the challenge to contextualize, to incarnate and contextualize. So I'm translating it. It's not just Rich, Alan, the MLC team saying, I should do this, but it's here's a key idea about movement dynamics. And so for you as a learner, what does that mean within my theology, within my missional context, within my leadership journey? And then how do I put it into practice? So one of the spaces that we'll interact intentionally as a cohort is in that learning environment where there's input, discussion, and application. And then the second session in every month, so there'll be 6 sessions, 1 a month, which is more coaching, conversation, and contextualization. So less dynamic input, far more dynamic collaboration. So the opportunity for Q&A, peer learning, process together and journeying it. So 6 months, you're looking at 2 sessions a month, one with input and peer learning and process, one with more conversation and collaboration. And over the course of the Movement Lab, we're wanting to take leaders on a journey. So we talk about the down and through process of change. So metanoia, that repentance, that unlearning and relearning. It's not just building a new house on the foundation you've got. It's actually looking at yourself, looking at your system. So we start by naming the status quo. So the patchy field in the language of Psalm 23, before we think greener pasture and journey through the valley, where do we start? Look at ourselves, our assumptions, our possibilities, our anomalies, our heritage, history, what we have within our system where we are releasing movement potential, where we're struggling and stuttering. So there's a process towards the start of the lab just to name your status quo. And then we go through the valley towards that mountaintop. So there's a journey into an imagination and innovative process. So imagining the greener pasture, what would movement and what could movement look like, framed around the 6 elements of MDNA written in Alan's Forgotten Ways? What could movement look like? That's the greener pasture. And then the intentional journey down, through, and up the valley. So as we go through sort of first 2 sessions, name the status quo, understand yourself and your systems. Sessions 3 and 4, so months 3 and 4, it's that imagination, the metanoic change and the movement vision. And then we come through months 5 and 6 and help each of the leaders, the participants, to think through their own story. So how do we tell and share the vision of movement in the love language of our organization and our context? contextualized tools, leadership training, change dynamics, building really the platform, the toolkit, and the practices to help initiate and then scale movement.
Wow. You know what? This is super exciting. And I'm so glad that we're partnering with you. So much of what we think at times about movements is really methods. And what we're
Yes.
talking about in this movement lab is not a method, but a concept, a framework, if you will, so that you will be able to construct your own method and that makes sense for where you are in your context. So, Rich, I am really excited about the potential of seeing more movements launched as a result of this collaboration.
Yeah. It's wonderful, Michael, to be able to come into a place where we're able to talk about principles within the cohort and then challenge leaders to put them into practice within their context. So we're able to have a learning environment together that actually the expression of that learning is then it's multiple in different forms, vehicles, methods, and processes. So absolutely, there is no one size fits all movement journey. We're learning, leading together. So there's frameworks and principles that we'll cover in the lab, and they become practices, methods, and vehicles in context. So we won't tell you what vehicle to use, what method, what praxis. We will be working in the mystery that then becomes the methods in the context.
Awesome. Awesome. This is going to be a great experience. We're looking forward to having more and more students involved in this and for the Lord to use this in really a fantastic way as we are committed to seeing God's gospel spread around the world and seeing those catalyzed by more and more movements. So, Rich, thanks. Grateful for you. Grateful for your work. Looking forward to our continuing collaboration and partnership.